Angie from Mystic Mountain Homestead, and today I have a guest. So, yeah, this is my friend Gabriel.
Nice to meet you.
Gabriel has bought some of our honey. And in the past, people have asked, what do you do with all your honey? Well, mostly we sell it. And we do, I mean, every time we harvest, we sell everything. So that's great. Well, Gabriel says, hey, can I buy some honey? And I'm like, sure. And he tells me how much. And I'm like, what are you going to do with it? Because I was thinking it's a little bit more than what normal people would eat. Although I have had other phone calls like that.
I'm hungry, you know.
Well, I've had other phone calls like that, and I'm like, what are all these people doing with this honey?
Yeah.
So, but Gabriel actually answered and told me what he did with the honey. So, what do you do?
I make mead.
Isn't that cool? And today, he's going to show us just how to do it. I'm going to ask him a couple of questions and get a little bit of history on mead, and then we'll go from there. And I'm going to let him actually take it away because I don't really know anything about honey mead. So, are you making fingers behind my head?
No, not yet, not yet.
Okay, cool.
Next time.
No, I have to look cool on my videos.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
Very cool, very cool.
Okay. Anyways, so Gabriel was telling me some interesting things I did not know about mead or even about honey, and I make honey with my bees. So, what were you telling me earlier before we actually clicked on about the honey in the tombs and
Yes.
the pyramids and things
So,
like that?
they have found honey in the Egyptian tombs that is still good. And the reason why honey lasts so long is, of course, all the enzymes that are inside of it that help, you know, break down bacteria. But one very important fact is its osmotic effect, which is, if you've ever heard of reverse osmosis for cleaning out water, it is water being transferred through a cell wall, and it's leaving back all the bad stuff. So when bacteria lands inside of the honey, because of the sugar content, will pull all the moisture out of the bacteria and kill it. What do you think about that?
Isn't that good? You didn't know it was going to be a science lesson today, did you? And then, what else did you say about how far back honey mead actually dates?
So there is a paper called The Drunken Monkey.
Yes, we're really telling you this.
10 million years, mammals have been drinking some sort of alcohol or eating some sort of alcohol. There is proof of it in the paper, The Drunken Monkey Theory, about the pintail shrew, who to this day eats fruit from the Bertram palm after it has been fermented, and it gets drunk. So, and that is the proof of it, that we've been drinking alcohol for millions of years. If you look at the Veda books from the Hindus in India, those books go back 4,000 years or more, and they have recipes for honey, and they talk about recipes for mead. So people have been making mead for thousands of years. You know, it's not just in Scandinavia, it's in Africa, it's in, you know, in the States, it's everywhere. There is some sort of recipe for mead going back thousands of years.
So it's multicultural. Everybody has that. And we were talking about, let's see, what else were you telling me about it that I thought was really interesting that we should tell everyone? No, I went blank. Well, Gabriel's going to teach us how to make mead today, and if I think of that thought again, I'll ask.
Yeah, we can always interject.
Yeah. So what do you want to show us today?
We're going to make a traditional mead. With Mystic Mountain Homestead, what's your saying?
You take what you got and you make it work.
So usually I will use vessels like this to make my mead. Today we're going to be using apple jars.
Yay! We're recycling and reusing.
And that solution that was inside there is called Star Sand. You want to use Star Sand in your bottles. Anything that's going to touch the bottle, use Star Sand or some type of antibacterial, because you want your yeast in there, not the natural yeast that's in the air, because yeast is everywhere. The guys over in Belgium that make the beer, their yeast that they use comes in naturally. They already have a perfectly good brewer's yeast. Right here in Oklahoma, I don't know about the perfect brewer's yeast in the atmosphere, maybe around my house because I brew so much.
I remembered what I was going to ask you now. Go
Oh.
ahead, finish what you're saying.
So, everything gets disinfected. Bar none. Because you don't want to end up with nasty. You don't want to end up with vinegar. You don't want to end up with some type of weird kombucha. And if you're brewing vinegar, keep it well away from all of your brewing supplies.
And that's funny because that's what we were talking about. Every time he was talking about him making the mead, I'd say, oh my gosh, that's just like kombucha. And so it's actually a lot like kombucha. But the thing I was going to ask you is, we are in Oklahoma. So are we doing something illegal?
No, we're not doing anything illegal. Home brewing is legal. Back in the 80s, we never figured out which president it was.
No, I told you to Google that.
Yeah, there's the president that signed in that all home brewing is legal, with the exception of high alcohol spirits. That's still illegal.
So that's moonshine, guys. That's moonshine.
Don't do that one.
And so, can you sell this?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
There are people that, like, you buy the ingredients and then you can pass it on. That's kind of, it's not really a loophole, but I can show you how to make it and you can have it. That's just fine. But I can give it away all day long.
Okay, so you can make it, you can drink it yourself, you can give it as a gift. And it's kind of like with butchering animals, it's kind of the same way. In Arkansas, I cannot butcher the rabbits and sell them as rabbit meat, but I can sell you the rabbit, and then we can butcher it for them.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing, but it's alcohol instead of rabbits. So.
Well, now we're not going to get into the conversation with the government. That'd be
yeah. Let's
dangerous.
not go political. All right. All right. So let's go.
We have I just pulled these both out. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of lime juice.
Lime, okay.
And that is because the yeast likes it to be ever so acidic. And the lime juice helps bring out a fruity note in the end mead.
So is it okay for your sanitizing bubbles still to be in there?
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the reasons why I use Star Sand. You don't have to rinse it out. And if you did try to rinse Star Sand out, the water that you're actually using to rinse it out is not as clean as that water.
Okay.
So that's still good.
All right.
So.
And he's making a one for me and a one for him.
That way she can do it too.
All right. So we're gonna put this whole thing in there.
Put the whole thing in there.
Okay. And you've pre-measured all this for us because we're making these little ones because you usually make really big ones.
Yes.
Okay. How much brewing do you do in a day, in a week, in a month, like that? Like, are you constantly brewing?
Yes, I am. I'm constantly brewing. It started off. I had wanted to start brewing, and my wonderful wife, the person holding the camera.
Yes, her name's January. She's so sweet.
Say hi, Donna.
Hi.
So, I'd wanted to get into making my own alcohol. You did it the hard way, just squeezing it.
Oh, I didn't think about taking the lid off.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, here. We'll hurry it up. Go ahead.
But I had wanted to start, and for Valentine's this year, she had bought me a starter kit off of Amazon.
Cool.
And I started that first batch, and it was electric. I loved it. It was immediately electric. One of the funny stories from that. Did you make a mess? Making a mess.
I mean, I could lick it, but that wouldn't be very sanitary, would it?
No, it wouldn't. So there was one morning. It was my morning to sleep. You can wash your hands.
Okay, thanks.
There was one morning when it was my morning to stop laughing. It was my morning to sleep in. Me and my wife take turns waking up the kids.
Oh goodness, I know how that feels, but I don't think I get to win that very often. I think it's me waking up.
Really?
Most of the time, yeah.
So I hear in the softest tone, Dad. So I kind of rouse and say, yes, son. And he ever so softly said, "Somebody spilled your mead." My first one that I ever did, got knocked over and spilled half.
Was the somebody him?
No, we still have no idea who it was.
It was the cat.
We're blaming cats, dogs, something. He blames her. She blames, I don't know, cats or dogs. Anyways, It doesn't matter. It happened. So, I get up. And I come in to look at it. They've already set it right up. And I was really disappointed. I was like, oh, man. I'm going to throw this thing away. It's just terrible. Now, what did Grandpa always say? Don't just do something, sit there. So...
Don't just do something, sit there?
Don't just do something, sit there.
Okay, isn't it supposed to be do something, don't just sit there?
Well, don't do something when you can do nothing and it might turn out awesome.
Okay.
Wait and see what happens. So, I decided to wait and see what would happen, and it turned out really, really good. I still have one bottle of that left, and my daughter's boyfriend asked me, when are we going to open up that bottle? I said, at my funeral.
So it's going to be your first one and your last one.
Exactly.
All right, gotcha.
So let's see here.
So you added some, you got the rest of the honey out of the jar by adding water, shaking it up. So obviously water's not going to hurt anything.
No, water does not hurt anything.
Are we like measuring these things precisely, or are we just kind of like, hey, whatever?
Hey, whatever.
Awesome.
I mean, we're going for easy peasy. Now, as we talked about before, we are going to do the take what you got and make it work.
Right.
With the exception of brewer's yeast.
Oh, okay.
Can you use the yeast that you buy, the Fleischmann stuff that you buy at Walmart? Of course you can. It just doesn't work as good.
Okay. And we like the nice stuff that you get from a brew place in Tulsa.
Yes, it's called High Gravity.
High gravity. Now, can people get this other places too? Well, it says it's from Canada.
You can
so
order
I
it
guess you could get it from Canada.
You can order it on Amazon.
There you go. Hey, guess what? We're going to become Amazon affiliates.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is that right? Amazon affiliate. Yeah. So maybe they could order things on my link from Amazon.
Nice.
Okay.
So, what I did right here was I took the yeast and we're going to get it kind of wet again.
And that's just like if you're doing bread, you needed warm water to activate it, but not hot water because then you'll kill it.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
So we're going to let that kind of get some water back into it and pause.
And activate it. Okay. Yeast is in there and it's getting warm and activating, and then what?
So we are going to also use a little bit of chemistry. This is yeast nutrient. It's food grade urea. I know that sounds terrible, but it really helps the process, and it's good for you.
We just won't tell anybody what that really means. Maybe they won't look it up, right?
Maybe they won't look it up. So that is yeast nutrient. It helps the yeast. Yeast has two different phases, metabolic phases that it has. One in aerobic and one in anaerobic. Mm-hmm. And it's when it's anaerobic, when it has lots of air in it, it will multiply.
Right.
When it starts to run out of that air, it starts eating that sugar and then converting it into alcohol. That's its anaerobic phase. So as it eats and eats and eats, it's going to make CO2, and we're going to show you the...
Just like kombucha.
Just like kombucha. So, on these, we're going to fill these little guys up with water.
Okay. Fill them up with water. And you already know the measurements, but if somebody wanted to make this at home, are you going to give me a recipe to put down or something? Or
with these right here, if you want to end up with a sweet mead, it's about 3 pounds per gallon.
Okay.
With these,
3 pounds of honey per gallon of water.
Yes.
And then how much of the yeast?
The yeast, that packet that I just put in there is good for 5 gallons.
Oh, so 1 packet is more than enough.
Yes.
Okay.
I like to use a little bit more. You have less of a chance to stress the yeast out. And when you stress the yeast out, you can start causing some off flavors.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to top those off when we're done. But here. See, everything that touches the yeast gets starch on it.
Yep.
So, I don't know if you guys watch her show, but I do.
Oh no, this is the part where you embarrass me. Okay.
So, back when she made the hummingbird food, we had the shake dance, and I demand that we see the shake dance again.
So, if you missed the hummingbird video, you can go here and you can watch this shake dance again. But you know what, Gabriel, I'm going to tell you honestly, I watched it afterwards and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But I went like this before, shake, 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 shake. But I got to tell you, that was totally wrong, because I should have said, shake it up, baby, shake it up, baby, twist and shout, twist and shout. There you go.
So
all right.
shake it. No, let me see. The
Yeah, it's going. See? Oh, oops.
Yeah, you need
Okay.
to shake it up.
Okay, there we go. There we go. The lid came undone. That was almost a mess.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't spill this stuff. It's really, really sticky. So, this is our yeast. It's starting to move and make bubbles, so it's alive and kicking. So we're going to split this one in between these two, and that should be more than enough.
Hey, this is just like those sea monkeys that you buy that are dead until you add them to water and then they come back to life. Yeast is just like a sea monkey.
Yeast is very much alive.
Well, I know, but it's not activated until you add water.
Exactly.
Just like the little sea monkeys.
Just like little sea monkeys. Let's take a little bit more of this headspace out of these.
Okay, why do you want it to? So in kombucha, you want to leave a cup. You want to leave an inch or two. So is that basically what you're doing here? And and you can. You also leave room. So that's basically.
So in the beginning process of making your wines, your beers, or anything, the aeration is good for the yeast, because you want them to multiply and make lots and lots and lots of yeast. That one packet holds 7 million cells.
Wow.
Yeah. So we want to make even more, so it has a healthy ferment. You want air in the beginning. Once it starts to make the alcohol, you don't want the air.
Okay.
And that is, you do that by small headspace and with our airlocks.
Okay.
So.
And today we are taking what we got and making it work. I think it's just because he wanted to give me the cheaper thing instead of his nice expensive ones that he has in another room. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. So, take that.
Okay.
And we're going to put it over.
All the way over the whole
All the way over the whole thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Then we are going to take.
This totally looks like a science experiment.
It is science. This is life biology.
Okay.
So we're going to take a little pin, and we're going to go through right there.
Okay. And I know why, but you tell them why we're going to poke a hole.
We do this so all the energy that the yeast use from eating the sugar, you get alcohol and you get CO2. The CO2 needs to come out, or you have a bottle bomb. We don't want that. We need to let that out. We don't want air to get back in. So this balloon with a little hole in it lets the CO2 out and doesn't let the air come back in.
And that has to do with the pressure.
That's the pressure.
Okay. So are we finished?
We're done. I mean, just sit that on shelf out of sunlight.
Okay. Same as kombucha. Okay.
After a week, it's mostly done.
Okay.
In the smaller vessels, they go faster than the larger vessels. So after about a week, those will be done with their primary fermentation. It's after that, if you want to add in your berries to make a melomel, or if you want to add in spices to make a metheglin, that's when you do that.
Okay.
If you do it beforehand, you have a chance to make a geyser.
Oh, okay. Because they're they're supplying that yeast with more sugar or...
Yeah.
Okay.
And you put all that stuff in the primary, just don't do it.
Okay.
Put all of your extra stuff in on your second fermentation. This one gets really energetic. It can take all that stuff, shove it up into the neck of the bottle. It'll make a gun and shoot it all over your ceiling. You don't want to do that.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. So this is going to go for a week, and then in a week we can take our balloon off and add whatever fruits we want to add, or leave it like it is. And then we're going to do a second fermentation for how long?
Well, see, after about a week, that's when you can add. After that, you would do what you call racking, which is taking this out of this bottle and put it into another bottle. I use a siphon. You can pour it. If you do it that way, you're gonna hit some of your old yeast inside the vessel. So siphoning is best. Just use a little tube. The one I use is not in here.
Okay, great.
And then after that, you just wait for it to clear. There are lots of different ways to clear. You can use Irish moss. I was telling you about.
Great.
You can use venomous clay. This type of stuff that they make kitty litter out of.
Okay, you know what? The more we talk about this, the more I'm thinking, I don't know if we want to drink this or not. It's got stuff in it.
Yeah, it's got kitty litter in it.
And oh, don't forget this.
And don't forget the urea.
Yeah.
So after it clears, it'll look like this.
He'll be right back.
It'll be nice and clear.
Okay.
And this one's actually an apple, so it's a little bit darker.
And I saw one that you you showed me earlier that has the little stuff on the bottom, and that is also, once again, like the kombucha. You can see the light, you can see the organisms on the bottom. So when you siphon that, you do or do not, which one that you want to get those out to from one bottle to the other?
In the whole brewing scheme, off flavor is anything that you don't want in your brew.
Okay.
There is a drink called Onlees, where they do leave the yeast in the bottom.
Okay.
So it depends on what you want. If you want it Onlees, leave some yeast in there. If you want it clear, clear it up.
Okay. And then you're gonna rack it from pouring from one bottle to another, and then how long are you gonna leave that again?
After your second racking and after everything's cleared, you pour it into another bottle. That's your third racking.
Okay. Is that a week each time?
It depends.
Oh, because you're waiting on it to clear.
You're waiting on it to clear.
Gotcha.
So after it clears, that's when you're done. That's when you put it in one more bottle to go into a bottle to be corked.
Okay, and then drink.
And then you can drink it. After 3 months, it's good. After 6 months, it's awesome. After a year, it's supposed to be heaven. So.
Oh. And you know what I think is really neat? This may be a new hobby for you because you just started this at Valentine's Day, but you are quite the connoisseur already. Like all those big words, I mean, and you're very knowledgeable.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge with us.
I'd like to tell you how humble I am, but there's not enough people around.
Awesome. Well, you've got thousands of people that will be watching this. You are online forever and ever. So there you go, Mr. Humble Gabriel. And we're going to pause for a second because I think what we're going to do is show you some stuff that he has bottled. Okay, so we're back, and I kind of made him move all of his stuff from another room into here so you can see. And do you want to tell us what you have here?
So this one is going to be, what we made earlier was called a traditional mead. This one is a sack mead. Same amount of honey. The yeast is not quite as strong. It's still stronger than the flash and stuff you get at Walmart, but this one is a mint. But you can see, I don't know if that can pick up on the camera, the bubbles coming up slowly.
Yep.
And then you see this bubble. It bubbles about every 10, 14 seconds.
Oh, that one just bubbled.
Yeah. And then this one has a lot more bubbles because this one has 71B yeast, which is what we used earlier. And this one's actually a mint.
And this you grew in your garden, didn't you?
Yes, this came out. The mint came out of our garden.
Now here's something you didn't know about Gabriel and his wife. they're kind of like us in the sense that they grow a lot of vegetables, a lot of plants, and they have chickens. Look at these lovely eggs. They didn't know I was going to show their eggs. But aren't those gorgeous? Okay. I like the speckled one. Okay. All right. And then, so this bubbles, and then you're finished with this when everything stops bubbling.
No. Bubbling is not an indication of final fermentation. The gravity of the sugar is, it's an okay guesstimation, but unless we start really getting into the science, when it's done is whenever it reaches a 1 on the gravity scale.
Okay, but I won't be able to know if this is 1 or not, so I'm just doing a week.
When that balloon stops blowing up, that's close enough.
That's the same. Okay. And then I had Gabriel go and get some of his others. He's made these gorgeous labels for himself. He does not sell it because it is illegal, but his wife is trying to talk him into going and getting the licenses, certification, so that he can start. And isn't that pretty? And look at this one. Elderberry. Yes, that is going to be awesome. Hibiscus. So isn't this cool? And this just started because, you know, hey, he just wanted to do something. And I think about this, and you know, we're homesteaders because like we're trying to be self-sufficient. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Gabriel like totally has something that he could use as trade for self-sufficiency. We talk about our honey being worth gold. Yes. And you kind of have the same thing going on here. If worse came to worse, you would definitely have things to trade.
Absolutely.
So, in your own right, you are becoming more self-sufficient. We should start calling you a homesteader.
We should.
Okay. So anyways, I just want to thank you for joining us today. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell. And he watches me, so you should too.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you coming over.
Y'all have a